There was an era when motorcycles were uncomplicated, nimble, and crafted to savor each and every curve, and the Honda CB was among the finest at achieving this. With a powerful engine derived from the CBR 400RR and a design that was ahead of its era, this masterpiece deserved to shine brightly, yet destiny played against it. Nowadays, it is a cult classic motorcycle, difficult to find, yet unforgettable. What transpired with it? Let us reminisce about its narrative. During the late 1980s, Honda was experiencing a period of significant creative expansion. Honda had been reaping success with sport motorcycles like the CBRF and the legendary BFR series, in addition to dominating the off-road world with the XR series. However, it wasn't all about adrenaline and dirt. Honda also had a foothold in the urban scooter market with models like the Honda Elite, which were perfect for daily commuting. In that context, the Japanese brand wanted to combine the best of both worlds, the thrill of sports bikes with the practicality of urban ones. Thus, the idea of the CV1400 was born, promising to be a lightweight, maneuverable bike with a sporty engine, but without intimidating novice riders with an extreme riding position or an exorbitant price. The engine of the CB was directly derived from the CBR 400RR, which is a high-performance sports motorcycle from the Japanese market. Nevertheless, in contrast to its larger sibling, the CB showcased a naked, minimalist design devoid of fairings and with a more laid-back focus, making it perfect for urban environments while still possessing sufficient zest to be enjoyable on secondary roads. This combination of athleticism and practicality was designed to appeal to youthful motorcyclists who desired something more thrilling than a standard urban motorcycle, but without the burden of handling the intricacies and upkeep expenses associated with a genuine sports bike. The CB's engine was an exceptional masterpiece of Japanese engineering prowess. Originating from the CBR, it inherited not only its remarkable capability to rev at exceptionally high speeds, but also its sophisticated technology for that era. This inline four-cylinder engine with a displacement of 399 cubic centimeters boasted a dual overhead camshaft and 16 valves, enabling a seamless yet intensely powerful delivery of power at elevated rev ranges. The genuine enchantment truly transpired as a result of its meticulously engineered carburation system and its precisely tuned 6-speed transmission, which allowed you to fully harness those 55 horsepower. Although the power figure might not seem exceptionally impressive by today's modern standards, back then it was more than sufficient to transform any ride into an exhilarating adventure. The rev limit at 30,500 revolutions per minute wasn't merely a figure on paper, it transformed into an intensely visceral sensation. The motorcycle was gentle and accommodating at lower revolutions, ideal for urban environments. But when you opened the throttle and surpassed 10,000 revolutions per minute, the engine emitted a sound reminiscent of a swarm of furious bees, converting every straightaway into an irresistible invitation to indulge in speed. This amalgamation of exceptional maneuverability and robust power rendered the CB400 an optimal motorcycle for individuals in pursuit of exhilarating thrills, intense thrills, without delving into the domain of purely sports-oriented bikes. The design of the Honda CB400 was undeniably one of its most debated aspects at its initial launch. While the majority of sports motorcycles of that era adhered to a more traditional design, featuring full fairings and more aggressive dynamic lines, the CB chose a distinct approach. Its naked style, characterized by a compact chassis and a more upright riding posture, aimed to provide a more accessible motorcycle, yet also one that was purer and more refined in its aesthetics. The circular headlight, abbreviated tail section, and diminutive fuel reservoir endowed the motorcycle with a minimalist, nearly skeletal appearance, which in contemporary times is appreciated for its retro-futuristic approach. It seems as though Honda was striving to be ahead of its era, yet the society of the 1980s wasn't entirely prepared for such an avant-garde design. Motorcycle aficionados of that particular era found it somewhat perplexing why a motorcycle possessing such substantial sporting potential lacked the fairings and visual flair of a conventional superbike. Individuals were accustomed to sport bikes that radiated visual muscle, and the CB appeared excessively austere and a bit peculiar to them. However, from today's vantage point, what was once perceived as a design flaw has been recognized as a collectible piece that signifies the beginning of an era where naked sport bikes started to gain prominence. That straightforwardness and minimalist approach are currently perceived as something sophisticated and enduring, with an aesthetic that distinguishes itself in the realm of classic and sports motorcycles. Who could have imagined that the futuristic machine that so bewildered motorcyclists in the 1980s would today be regarded as a cult icon? The competition within the 400cc motorcycle segment during the late 1980s and early 1990s was exceedingly fierce and intensely competitive. The Suzuki Bandit 400, for example, was a naked motorcycle that achieved an exceptional balance between high performance and everyday usability. Its inline four-cylinder engine, although not as radical as the CB's, provided a more linear and manageable power delivery, making it ideal for both novice and more experienced riders alike. Additionally, the Bandit exhibited a more conventional design, which significantly contributed to its positive reception in the marketplace. On the other hand, the Yamaha FZR 400 was meticulously engineered with a distinctly sport-oriented focus. With its extensive fairing and delta box frame, this Yamaha was truly a formidable missile in the corners. Motorcycle enthusiasts who were in pursuit of an unadulterated sports experience absolutely adored it, and its reputation as a miniature superbike rendered it exceptionally appealing to young individuals dreaming of conquering the racetracks. Additionally, there was the Kawasaki ZXR 401, a genuine racing machine that was homologated for street use. Its high-revving engine and sophisticated chassis design made it an almost exotic choice within the market. The Kawasaki ZXR 401 possessed a racing-inspired aesthetic and performance capabilities that made its purpose unmistakably clear: to be exceedingly fast without any concessions. Amidst this competitive landscape, the Honda CB1400 was introduced as a fun-loving and accessible motorcycle, yet its marketing efforts failed to convey the same level of excitement as its formidable rivals. While other brands successfully offered the thrilling illusion of being MotoGP riders, Honda was left with a message that was simply too mild and understated. What was truly lacking was that emotional impact, that assurance of thrilling adventure and adrenaline rush that young individuals were eagerly seeking. Ultimately, the CB was seen more as a rational and practical choice, but not as the motorcycle that would make your heart race to its absolute maximum. In a market where passion reigned supreme, that was indeed a costly oversight. In the United States and Europe, the sales performance of the CB was, to put it mildly, a complete disaster. It was only marketed for a few years, and then, just like that, it vanished. It vanished completely. What happened? Mainly, it was due to poor marketing and a market unsure of its desires. The CB was excessively sophisticated to be considered an entry-level motorcycle, and yet too simplistic to be classified as a genuine sports motorcycle. The market simply was not prepared, or perhaps, just perhaps, Honda was not aware of how to convey the appropriate narrative. In today's world, the CB has transformed into a true collector's treasure. It is quite rare, boasts remarkable performance for its engine capacity, and its design has matured beautifully over time, much like a fine wine. Furthermore, its engine, which is derived from the CBR, provides it with an added touch of exclusivity. It is the motorcycle that true enthusiasts passionately seek, the one that should never have vanished. And now, is it truly worth it? The answer is an emphatic and resounding yes. If you find a CB in good condition, you might be looking at a piece of history. Its price in the second-hand market ranges between $3,000 and $5,000, depending on the condition and originality. However, getting spare parts can be a challenge, not impossible, but you might have to dig around on the internet or have a friend in Japan lend you a hand. Regarding its maintenance, if you possess the fundamental knowledge and have access to a skilled mechanic, the CV remains just as enjoyable and dependable as it was on its very first day. The Honda CB1400 was an experimental venture that didn't succeed initially, but as time has passed, it has rightfully earned the position it deserves. It is a motorcycle that demonstrated that occasionally the market is unaware of what it truly requires until it is too late. Therefore, if you ever have the opportunity to experience one, do not hesitate. Because as the saying goes, the most memorable stories are not always from those who emerged victorious, but from those who endured the test of time.